concerns. So without further ado, let's get to the questions. But most of all, let me just say this. Thank you for being here. We take your comments, your suggestions, your criticism. We do take it. We understand it. We welcome it. And believe me, it does not fall on deaf ears. We have challenging times. We want to understand the needs, the services that you want, and working together cooperatively is the best way to get there and improve our great county. Thank you. Tell the truth. That's all I would ask, or give a fair airing. You would understand that this administration is squarely on the side of the rider and the taxpayer. Period. I took office, and the MTA met me with a demand for $26 million more of your money. Understand this. We provide a $9 million subsidy. They keep all the fare. They receive over $50 million from the state and federal government. We buy the buses, we provide the depot. They are the operator of our buses. Prior to taking office, they cut back on April rides. They already cut back on the disabled. They put forth a plan and they cut routes, but yet wanted $26 million more. I said, well, why do you want $26 million? Let me see your budget. I look at their budget and I see that we are charged with 20 accountants, 10 attorneys, 6 PR people. Do you have a choice on what bus operator to use in that sort of thing? Why do we need all this expense? Why don't we cut some of these expenses instead of asking for $26 million more? They continue to follow along that demand. I said, well, in these times, in fact, that you are receiving over $100 million more through the MTA payroll tax we're all paying here, we'll have to look at alternatives. And that's what sought me to look at alternatives. This was not an issue I picked on. I was happy with this. We just didn't have an additional $26 million. In essence, we didn't have $35 million for the MTA. We tried to negotiate, and in fact, they did offer them some additional dollars in these challenging times, but to no avail. Their demands continued. And they escalated. As they escalated, I continued to seek other operators. Then they came and said, well, we will continue bus service if you provide an additional $9 million. We're going to cut 56% of your service, as well as additional cuts to able ride. Well, I said, well, that's not going to work. More money, you're giving me 56%. Well, we stuck to our guns. We continued this process of soliciting a public-private partnership. During this time, I am happy to report not only are we not giving MTA Bus an additional $26 million of money, we're actually going to give them $5 million less. $5 million less. That's $5 million more right there. On top of that, they will operate the bus service through the end of the year. That's the commitment that they made. Come January 1st, 2012, we're not going to have $26 million for them. We're not going to go through this exercise again. I am going to put forth a plan to the public for a public-private partnership to operate the bus service come January 2012. It gives you plenty of time to understand what the new operator will do and how bus service will continue. But I will tell you this, your bus service will not be cut by 56%. Your routes will continue. There will be bus service in Nassau County, and we will be delivering that bus service at least $26 million less than the MTA proposal. So this nonsense that we're cutting bus service, eliminating bus service, maybe the only thing I don't have is the 6 PR people the MTA has and those that wish to use this subject for political purposes. I've asked for the suggestions. What is the suggestion when people say don't have a private operator? What is the suggestion? There has been none other than come up with $26 million more of your money. Do you want your home taxes to increase another 5–6%? No, I don't think so. I don't think your bus service will get better. As a matter of fact, it's what's wrong with government. Feed government more money. This is a government agency. They should be delivering services more efficiently than government, not less. Their CEO makes over $300,000 a year, and if he gets fired tomorrow, he gets 2 years' pay. It's wrong. It's wrong. The agencies are out of control, and you have to take a stand. And I'm not giving them your taxpayer dollars to do it. So, the spin masters can do what they want. Bus service will continue in this great county of ours under our watch. I guarantee that.
One says, well, or actually Joyce Nolan, you can ask your question. Are you here, Joyce?
Yes, I am.
You want to ask it? You want me?
Yes,
You want? Yeah.
first of all, the mailings of when I got one of them said second note, never saw first. And then I get a third one with penalty. And then I get a package of 3 notices. Of course, my neighborhood, I started asking questions in the neighborhood. Are you okay? I mean, I've lived in this area for over 30 years. I do not run lights. It's like Jerusalem Avenue and Union Hill Avenue. Who would dare do that? You should have put no turning, no right turns, because in order, as you know, when you're coming from this way, going into Hempstead, you can make a right on the head. There are 2 lanes here, a turning lane and another one. You make a right on that. You stop and you move up. Now that's right. That camera is taking these pictures, right? But it takes it as you're looking, you're not moving. You're looking, who would not stop? Who would not stop? And the cameras surely, clearly shows there's an infraction that you're breaking the law when we aren't. Everyone has it. You stop, you move up to look to see what's coming, and you make it right. Okay, but you have to listen to that. We should have had a town meeting first of all before it's cut, so we could all discuss it. More than willing to make a statement for our children. Surely.
Well, you know what I'd like to do is let me first define one thing about the basis of the program, and then I'll specifically talk about Jerusalem and Uniondale, because that particular location is one that I think you'll be happy about, some of the recent results in the study that I started beginning on that. And then we'll discuss it. But the first thing is I just want to try and explain the main purpose of the red light cameras, and I'm going to proceed this. Traffic safety first looked at these in 1996. Okay, this was not a recent occurrence. In fact, it wasn't until 2002 that I first presented to the legislature. The legislator Mangano was there. I think that was, might have preceded you, or was around the same time as legislator Abraham. I know that we definitely had a chance to present before you. 2002. So the point being is that the basis of the program is twofold. It's for safety, and it's to re-educate so that we change our behavior. It is designed to save life. It is designed to lower accidents. Now, that said, one of the things we purposely did in the implementation of the program was to ensure that we were not going to engage in an I gotcha. Now, that said, please let me. We purposely made sure that we didn't go for just an image that's taken, similar to New York City. We purposely went to a video system. Our system is such that if you were to view, or receive rather, a citation, you have the opportunity to look at a video of the infraction. Now, why was that important? That wasn't only important for you to say, gee, I got one of these tickets. Did I really pass it? What am I going to do? No. It wasn't just for your benefit. It was for ours. Because we have the opportunity not to look at still image, but at an action that occurs 6 seconds prior to the changing of the signal, and then ultimately through the car going through the location. We have the opportunity to say, when we view that image or that video over traffic and parking violations, that if there is a doubt, we don't give it out. If there is a doubt of the violation, it is not issued. We have a second tier to that. If you feel that you still received the infraction improperly, if you go to traffic and parking violations, and I have the opportunity to sit inside one of the courtrooms, the judge does give the benefit to the people that attend the hearing. And I suggest as many tickets dismissed if there was the slightest question. We can say, now when I speak about Jerusalem Avenue, and I wish I had the opportunity to give you certain videos, we have had 4 pedestrian accidents and knockdowns videotaped at that very location. We have had a number of accidents videotaped at that very location. Some serious, some less. But I can tell you this, that in the latest statistics that we got in analyzing the 6 months after the installation of that camera, we have reduced accidents in that location by nearly 17%. That was our goal, and that's what we're going to continue to do. In fact, when I get a phone call about questions of any of the cameras and the locations, and that location, by the way, the reason why I said I'm familiar with that one very well, is we got a call from somebody that said the pole was too close on the sidewalk and that people were having trouble getting around it. We're moving it. We are very responsive to what your questions are and your concerns. And I'm going to ask you a favor, okay? And I can see you know, maybe you're not happy with one second, but I'm going to just ask you a favor. I'm going to be here. If you could be more specific, I'd rather take up the time being the specifics. I want you to talk to me. And I will take care of whatever your concerns are. Because you know what? One of the words I saw up there on one of the sheets was outraged. And you know what? I want you outraged. I want you outraged for something different. I want you outraged that there are people that are not obeying the law and made these cameras required and necessary. Because what happens is we cannot have a police officer at every location. And we can't have a police officer at every location to safely, and the word safely, pull somebody over. Because you know what? On that particular location, find me a good right-of-way. These cameras have been installed where we have high accidents, where we have injuries, and indeed, in many cases, fatalities. Nationally, we've seen reduction of 40% in the crashes, over 20% in fatalities. Last year alone, because of what we call a halo effect, the existence of the cameras, we went from 2009, from 106 fatalities on our roadways to 89. And a number of them were within vicinity of these cameras. So, are we all happy about them? Perhaps not. But I'll tell you what, I'll address every specific that there is. I answer the phone, and I will be more than happy to take whatever other concerns there are. But I'll tell you this much. It's time for us to change our behavior. And if anybody here wants to protest the cameras and say they don't like them, I will help you organize a protest. And the way we're going to do the protest is get everybody together and stop for the red. Because if we stop on red, you don't need the cameras.
Speak in the mic, please.
From President D. Patron, why is the processing and notification and receiving the payments outsourced and not processed in Nassau County?
We need the revenue here.
Okay, I will explain that very specifically. What happens is that a program like this, in terms of trying to set up for the administrative end of it, honestly, is exceptionally expensive. Exceptional. We did not have the computer system in place to be able to take a look at and view registrations, match them up to DMV. We did not have the manpower necessary to be able to do the initial mailing. We don't have a mail house in Nassau County. A mail house, in terms of being able to do a print job like that, color prints, a mail house that's able to match up the DMV registration and so on. When we looked at the costs involved, were just tremendous. What we opted to do was use the same service that New York City uses, as well as about 40% of the red light camera systems throughout the country. And that's why it does get mailed to Arizona, I believe, as well as I think there was a second mail house location. It just is, in all honesty,
one is where the payment goes to. It's two different locations.
right. The problem is it's just cost prohibitive. You know, in this time, many services you'll find out are shared. And by using a shared service with other municipalities around the country, we just find that it saves the county a tremendous amount of money between the manpower, between the cost of postage, and so on. We're able to utilize the benefits of shared services